Ago, Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel sang a song about a boy that was a poor boy that went to New York City. And there in the city, he fell victim to the harsh life of living one day at a time, and the cold winters draining him of life. And in their words, he said, "They're laying me low, seeking out the poorest quarters where ragged people go, looking for places that only they would know." It's a picture of a young lad that had sought out and had set out to find his dream, but somehow his dream didn't come true. It sounds like some of us here today. We had a dream when we were 21 of what we were going to do in life, but when we became 41 and that dream didn't materialize, there comes a time like this lad when we're ready to just throw in the towel and entertain thoughts of quitting and going home and giving up and never doing anything else again. But that's where it is in their story of the song about the boxer. It says that he picks up the towel to quit and he's ready to throw it in. But hear the words. It says, "In a clearing stands a boxer, a fighter by trade. He carries a reminder of every blow that ever cut him down, till he's carried out his anger and his shame. I'm leaving, he said, but the fighter remains." There's something inside of a fighter that says, "I've got to fight one more round. I can't quit today. Today is not a good day to quit." Can I tell somebody here today, don't ever quit your job when you're having a bad day. Don't ever walk out of your marriage because you're having a disagreement. Don't walk out on life because things are not going the way you want it to go. But somehow, just hear the bell one more time and go back for another round. But he said, the fighter remains. When I heard those words, something rung true inside that says every fighter I've ever known has got to be willing to fight when they don't feel like fighting. Every person I know that's ever been successful in business has had to get back up again when they've gotten knocked down. He said, "I've got to try it one more time." Thomas Edison invented the light bulb. One day his boy came in and screamed, "Dad, come quickly. The shop is on fire." And he went to the back door, and sure enough, his workshop out behind the house was burning down. And he said, "Dad, what are we going to do?" And he said, "I'm not worried about that." He said, "But Dad, all of your inventions, everything's out there, even the light bulb." He said, "No, the one that works is in here. There's 700 failures the world will never know about going up in flames. 700 failures, 700 times he tried and it didn't work. But we remember the one time that did work, and we're thankful for it every time we flip the light switch today. What if he had given up on number 699 and said, "I'll not go another round, I'll not try anymore"? Somewhere something's got to dig down inside of us, as it was in Jesus, that says, "I am going to finish what I started. I'm going to stick with it until it's done." But unfortunately, our human tendency is to quit too soon. Our inability to finish what we start. Just look around at your house. You know, a half-read book, a half-finished letter, a car still sitting up on jacks. We didn't quite get it finished. You know, a half-cut lawn or half-finished project around the house. Come on, ladies. Quit nudging your husbands. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We've all got them. A half-made dress, some of you ladies, that just didn't quite get finished. And those are the things we can talk about today, but it shows up sometimes in the most painful areas of life, and that's an abandoned child, or a cold faith, or somebody that jumps from job to job, or wrecked marriage. Or maybe we're not even reaching our world with the message of salvation because we tried and it didn't work. You say, "Pastor, that's painful, that hurts because I resemble those remarks somewhere that fits me and I don't want to be that way." And maybe I'm talking to somebody today and you've had thoughts of giving up. You said, "You know what, I tried to make things work, but things just didn't work out for me. I tried to fix things, but things didn't work for me." I want to tell you, it's time to throw your hat back in the ring and fight another round. It's time to get back up and say, "I'm not walking out now. I'm not quitting now. I'm not rusting out now. I'll just fight another round. I'm going to pick my cross up, and one more time I'll go another round." I want to encourage you to remember Jesus was determined when he got the cross. He told his disciples, I have to go to Jerusalem. It was burning inside of him. If I'm going to redeem the world, I must go to Jerusalem. They knew what he was going to face there. He knew what he was going to face there, but it didn't deter him from going and doing what he needed to do. You can't give up because it's going to be a hard road. You can't quit because it's going to be painful. But somewhere you've got to make up your mind, I'm going to finish everything I said I would do. You don't think Jesus had thoughts of giving up? He said, but he was God. I know he was God, but he was also flesh. Somewhere in the midst of all of it, watch him if you will. Look at him. Look at his facial expressions when the disciples are bickering behind his back. Look at him when he's standing by the tomb of Lazarus and he's weeping. See him whenever he's clawing the ground at Gethsemane. Did he ever want to quit? Yeah, but he wasn't until he said those famous words, it is finished. It is finished. Stop and look and listen for just a moment. Can you imagine that cry from the cross? It was dark. Maybe there was thunder had been rolling and now everything was quiet. You could hear two weeping, dying men beside him on that cross. And in that silence, Jesus pushes down on that one nail in his feet and raises the diaphragm of the chest so that he can breathe one last time and yells out, it is finished! Was it a cry of defeat? No. I dare say, had he not been nailed to a cross, there would have been a fist punched up in the air, a sound of victory saying, it is finished! Our redemption for man is finished. I began to look at the word finished there this week and did a little word study on it. You know, sometimes when I started to get married, my daddy told me standing outside the church, he said, remember this, son, a man is not complete until he's married. I said, that's good. He said, after that he's finished. I said, that's not so good. So when I think of the word finished, it stuck in my brain. So I decided to do a word study on finish this week. And what it said was, you have completed what you started. It's the word that an artist would use when he has signed his name to the bottom of the masterpiece. And he steps back and he says, it is finished. It's what the scholar says when he walks out of class the last day with his A+ in his hand and he's completed his course and said, it is finished. It's what the priest says whenever he would look at the sacrifice and he would check it over to be sure it was okay. And he would say, it is finished. It's right. It's pure. It's holy. It's acceptable. It would what the merchant would write when he would write it across the bill. Paid in full. It is finished. Have you ever had those days when you made the last payment on a car? You struggled with it. You wanted it real bad. You signed your name. And about 3 months into it, you didn't like that car. But you still had that car. And you still had the payment coupon book. 30 payments later, you're writing across that last one, it is finished. Oh yeah, there's something liberating about making that last payment and knowing it's done. And you say to yourself, I'm never going to go in debt for another car. Right. You don't even drive by the car dealerships anymore. You stay away from them. Why? Because you've been saddled with something that's held you for so long and you wanted that freedom. Come on. That's where Jesus was. The Easter message in an eggshell today is Jesus crying out from a cross. It is finished. That long history of plan of salvation, redeeming fallen man was finished. The works done by Jesus as a man on earth were finished. The task of selecting and training 12 disciples was finished. The job was finished. The song had been sung. The blood had been poured. The sacrifice had been made. The sting of death had been removed and it was over. Was it a cry of defeat? Never, never, never. It was a shout of victory. It is finished. It is finished. If you're close to quitting today, I want to encourage somebody to get back in the ring and fight another round. If you're weary in well-doing, do just a little bit more. If you're pessimistic about your job, roll up your sleeves and go and give it your best. If there's no communication in your marriage, begin to make that communication work. Give it another shot. You can't resist temptation. Accept God's forgiveness and go one more round. Is your day framed by sorrow and disappointment? Are your tomorrows turning into nevers? Is your hope already wounded? Remember the words of the fighter that stayed in there and said, it is finished. It didn't say you would never be weary or wounded, but quite the contrary. Like the boxer, he said that every lick ever given to him bore a story with it. I've never been a fighter much. I never had to fight a whole lot. I had 3 older brothers that did most of my fighting. But if you look on my little finger right here, you'll see a mark where I had to have a stitch because I hit a guy with braces. Lesson note to myself: never slap a man chews tobacco, never hit anybody with braces. But I carry a mark. I carry a mark of a young, uneducated fighter that didn't know any better. It's a reminder. I have another scar. I have to look for it sometime. I have another scar right here where it says, "Don't mess with the box cutter." But I didn't give up on life because I sliced my hand open and had to go and have them sew it up. Do you understand? You don't quit because you have some struggles, because things don't go your way. Your job didn't work out, and you can't find another job. You get back out there, get an application going again, get a resume back in, get up in the morning time, and start looking to see the goodness of the Lord. David said in Psalms 27:13, I would have quit had I not believed to see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. You need to go on the goodness hunt today. Start believing God's going to do it. And the promise in His book is yours. He said He would supply all of your needs according to His riches in glory. Mother Teresa said, God didn't call us to be successful, but He called us to be faithful. The fighter, like our Master, is pierced through and full of pain. But like Paul, he was bound and he was beaten, but he still remained. The land of promise, says Jesus, awaits for those that endure hardship as a good soldier. It's not for those who make victory laps and drink the champagne. No, sir. The promised lands are for those who simply remain and endure. Listen to some of the verses as I close today, and they come to the music that are designed to give us hope when we're going through a hard time. Listen as Paul would write, consider it pure joy, my brothers, when you face fiery trials of all kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith develops perseverance. Therefore, lift up the drooping hands, strengthen the weak knees, make straight paths for your feet, so that which is lame is not put out of the way, but rather be healed. And Paul would write, let us not grow weary in well-doing. We shall reap in due time if we faint not, if we don't quit, if we don't walk out. Somebody needs to hear me today. Due time is right around the corner for you. You've been praying for things for a long time. You've been weeping and crying and believing for a long time. For somebody, this Resurrection Sunday is the first day of the rest of your life. God, you're not here by accident. You didn't come by mistake. You came here by God's divine providence that brought you to this place and told you it's time for you to get a new grip. It's time for you to get a new vision. It's time for you to get your faith renewed again. Listen as Paul would write, I fought a good fight and I finished the race. I've kept the faith. Now therefore there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord the righteous judge shall give to them, not just to me, but to everyone that is with him and that appear him. What about you today? What about you today? Are you willing to finish? Are you willing to stay in there? Paul would write, blessed is the man that perseveres under trial, because when he has been tested, when he stood the test, he's going to receive the crown of life that God has promised to him. Thank you. Thank you, Paul, for not giving up. But more than that, thank you, Jesus. Thank you that you didn't quit. Thank you that you didn't come down off that cross. He could have called 10,000 angels to destroy the world and to set him free. But he said, no, I'm going to finish what I started. Whenever he said, it is finished, it terrified hell, and there was a shockwave that went through heaven because it was the cry of victory. Today, as you stand with me right now, I wonder if on this Resurrection Sunday, on this Easter Sunday 2013, if there would be somebody that would want to say, God, I've been running the wrong way, and I've been weary, been trying to do the best I could do, but sometimes it seems like every time I take one step forward, I go 2 steps backwards. And maybe that's you here today, and you've been weary, but I want to encourage you. Why don't you just right now, as they come to sing, step out from where you are and say, you know what, this is a brand new day dawning. I want to give it another shot. I want to fight another round. I want to get back in the ring one more time. The fire remains. I'm going to finish what I started. I'm going to complete where we began. I want God to give me strength today and give me help today. Come on, Jesus is waiting for you today. You're not joining a church. All you're doing is stepping out saying, I need God's help in my situation. I need God's help on this Easter Sunday to help me through what I'm going through. I want to get through it. I don't want to quit and have to go back again. Would you come and join us today? Why don't you just join us as we sing and we pray today? For those of you that have to go, thank you so much for being with us. Come again. Next Sunday, Tuesday night, we'll have Bible study. Next Sunday, we're going to break up again. We're going to have church. God bless you. God bless you.